What's up, YouTube? It's Biblical Truther. Just want to show you a couple pictures and talk about a little something right quick. I got a neighbor who seems to think drinking tap water is just fine and dandy because it comes from our government, you know, who has our best interests at heart. So I want to take a look. We've been using the zero water filter for a while, and it's the closest thing to it, like an instant filter, closest to like reverse osmosis almost, the way that the filter is set up and the stuff that they have inside the filter. But we noticed a drastic change because I'm from the South, and down here we drink a lot of sweet tea. And when we first got this water filter, we noticed a drastic change in the color of our tea. So this is a picture of our tea after making it when it was time to change the filter on our zero water, because we usually know when we get this dark colored tea and we can't see through it. So check it out. And that's always the telltale sign. And just the taste of the tea is completely different, because we used to drink tap water, you know, straight out the tap. You know, we might have had one of the little filters that go on the spout of the faucet or whatever, but that only does like sediment, and some of them will do taste, but for the vast majority of them, they don't filter out contaminants. And with the zero water filter, it comes with a TDS meter, and that's just total dissolved solids. It doesn't tell you what's in the water, but it tells you the parts per million of the stuff that are in the water. Well, we found that our water on a normal, well, this was about 3 years ago we started using this thing. It was about 280 to 320 parts per million. It just kind of varied. Well, now we're up over 400 parts per million of dissolved solids in our water out the tap. And the zero water actually brings it down to zero. And just to make sure it wasn't some gimmick with the TDS meter that's provided with the filter, I ordered a little more advanced TDS meter from Amazon, and just to double check. Plus I make my own colloidal copper and silver, so I use it to check the parts per million on that as well. But anyway, it does bring it down to 0 parts per million. And this is a picture of our tea jug right after we changed the filter. Check it out. So you can see a big difference. And it's even a more drastic difference if I was to show you. I didn't make one because that would just be a waste of tea. Straight out the tap, it's even darker than the first picture I showed you. You can't see through it. The tea has like a real thickness to the tea, and it's syrupy. Like if you were to spill some on the counter and not clean it up, it doesn't like evaporate completely. You know, it always leaves like a excuse me, a syrupy, tacky spot wherever you spilt the tea, whereas clean water does not. You'll see a little residue there just because of the sugar in it, but aside from that, there's a huge difference in taste, definitely in color. So what's in your water? You know, there's a lot of fighting going on between municipalities and certain groups of people who are trying to fight the fluoride in the water, and you can do your own research on that. And typically, if you go on your state's or municipality's website, they'll usually show you what additives, or probably not all, but they'll show you what's added to your water. But what's most disturbing about this, and I've been having these pictures of this tea for a while, and I've wanted to make this video for a while. So yesterday, since I've had to create this new YouTube channel, I'm having to go through and resubscribe to all the channels, and there's some that I probably still aren't subscribed to because I just don't remember the channel names right off the bat. But one of them is Celeste Solum, and a lot of people know who she is. She's came out with a lot of stuff over the last probably 2 years that I've been paying attention and listening to the things she says. She's an ex-FEMA, or retired FEMA, I don't know whether or not you'd call her administrator, officer, whatever, but she worked for FEMA, and she's pretty much in the know, or at least up until her retirement, of the plans that FEMA have once a national emergency is declared in the United States, which basically the government or the president hands the power over to FEMA, and FEMA runs the show from then on. Until I think every 6 months Congress gets a chance to review it and declare whether or not we should remain under a national emergency or not. I could be wrong, give or take, on the time frame of that, but I'm pretty sure it's every 6 months. And Trump made that declaration on March, 13th or 15th last year. I don't remember the exact day. But he made that declaration, and the very next day he gave us a speech where the podium that usually had the presidential seal on it no longer had the presidential seal, and many truthers caught it right off the bat, and they put it back on the podium, and then the White House emblem that's usually in the background had changed. So there's a bunch of indicators that FEMA's running the show, not the president. But back to Celeste Solum. Yesterday I was listening to her Nano Moment with Celeste video, and I'm going to put a link in the description of the one she did yesterday and today. And she was reading from a couple of articles that are very disturbing in what their plans are as far as more and new additives to our water. Now, I don't know what they've done to our water in my municipal area to get that parts per million up so high, because you can go and find, it's like a map that shows different areas of the United States that show, you know, what the average parts per million in municipal water is for your area. And I think the lowest one that I remember was in the 100 parts per million range, and it goes all the way up to 500 or 600 parts per million. So that's a lot of junk that probably shouldn't be in our water. And if you do your research into fluoride, it's a nuclear waste byproduct, and it was originally sold as rat poison back in the day, and you can still find some of the old advertisements for it where it's declaring right on the package that this is rat poison, yet they've convinced us that it's for our health, it's good for our teeth. And I can honestly say, since we started using this zero water, and this is not a plug for that filter system, it's basically the cheapest one we can afford at the time, but we've seen a drastic difference in my son, who's now 3, which we started this when he was born, and seen a drastic difference in his learning capabilities since we started filtering our water. So if you aren't preparing for the future to come, you might want to think to start doing so. But one of the main things would be filtration. Not just if you were living out in the woods in a SHTF situation, but just in everyday life, man. I would recommend you filter tap water. If you get it right out of your faucet at home, filter it. And it's kind of hard to do taking a shower, but these chemicals, chlorine and all these other neurological and carcinogenic additives, they basically soak in your skin. So if you can get a whole home filter system, a reverse osmosis or something like that, then do so. But financially I can't do that, so the next best thing is to stop drinking it at least. So that's my video for today, man. What is in your water? It's kind of scary to think about, but check these 2 videos out from Celeste, because what they got planned as far as this sustainable development Agenda 2030 situation that Biden has already came out talking about, doing away with meat, and we're only allowed the equivalent of maybe a hamburger a month per person. It's absolutely insane, but it was once a theory that's no longer a theory, because of course it's on mainstream news now, so people actually believe it. But check these 2 out from Celeste, man. It will probably shock you to your core and make you want to basically get a well. Spend the $6,000 and dig you a well, and just stop drinking public water. Just do away with it altogether, because this is sick. What they have planned, and this is published papers that she's reading from, and I'm sure I didn't catch the name of the paper or the study, but she hasn't been wrong yet. So I would advise, if you're not subbed to her, go ahead and sub to her, because she's very learned in this whole scheme that is unfolding by the day. So just wanted to put this out there, man. I would definitely advise checking into some type of filter system, whether it be whole home or just something to filter what you drink, because it makes a huge difference, even in your children's cognitive abilities. And it's sad to say, but that's the world we live in, man. They are poisonous at every turn. Every turn we make is just more poison. So that's my video for today, man. Love you guys.
Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints,